Viva Pit Señor! My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, in today's gospel reading, we are reminded of the challenges Jesus faced throughout his ministry. Despite performing miraculous healings and casting out demons, some people still viewed him with suspicion, accusing him of working through the power of Beelzebul. Doesn't this resonate with what we see in the world today? Where often good is twisted to appear as evil, and evil is presented as something good. And I do believe that based from your experience, siguro may mga tao na kayong natulungan, inyong gitabangan, pero in the end, kamu pa ang murag na nahimong dili maayo. Di ba? You help others, but later on, it turns that those people whom you help considered you as evils or bad persons. A sad reality. To deepen our reflection, we can turn to psychological studies that examine this kind of behavior, where good is seen as bad and bad is seen as good. In social psychology, this phenomenon is called as confirmation bias. It's when people interpret information in a way that confirms their pre-existing beliefs, even when faced with evidence to the contrary. This often leads to a skewed perception of reality, much like how some in Jesus' time refused to acknowledge the good he was doing and accused him of working through evil forces. Kaning mga tao nga, even though may evidence ka na, pero i-consider gihapon nila nga sayop ka. Bisan pa sagpaon na nimo sila sa imo mga proofs, dili ko siya maminaw. Still, you are wrong. This jaundiced view of life is a result of the human tendency to protect the ego and avoid confronting comfortable or uncomfortable truths. Unsa pasabot? Nganuman may anaatan ni nga mga value pamatasan because of our pride. Sometimes we avoid confronting uncomfortable truths. People would rather cling to their biases than admit they were wrong or open their minds to the transformative power of Christ. Modern studies show that this kind of cognitive dissonance can make individuals more resistant to change and cause them to justify immoral actions because of how they've rationalized their world. Di ba, uban sa atuan, nasakpan na nga nagsayop, pero unsa mo na itong gibuhat, no? As much as we can, we try to justify ourselves. Siguro nga, no, even sa confession, nag-confess ka na nga na nagkamali ka, pero somehow, you try to justify yourself para murag dili mabigat pakinggan yung mga kasalanan mo. Again, a human tendency and done out of too much pride sa atuang kaugalingon. This behavior is not new. Saint Augustine Si San Agustin, in his Confessions, wrote about the inner turmoil he experienced before his conversion. He described how his soul was sick and how he struggled to let go of sinful pleasure because in his mind they were falsely perceived as good. He wrote, and I quote, "I was sick and close to death because I would not want to live by faith. I did not want to put to death that which kept me from living, and I did not want to live for the good life of faith. That was my disease." End of the quote. Nalisod siya i-face ang iyang sinfulness. He keeps on denying the truth about himself, that he is created in the image and likeness of God, that he was made for God. This spiritual sickness is similar to what we see in the gospel today. The refusal to accept truth because of a distorted view of reality. Kasi ginagawa naman ng lahat. No? Okay raman siguro ang mag-live-in, kay daghan man ang nag-live-in karon. Then, mag-live-in namin na lang kami, no? Sa imo ang kaipon. Dili na lang mubaton sa sakramento, kay daghan man karon ang nagpuyo nga walay nakadawat sa sakramento. But my dear friends, the truth, even though daghan ang nagapractice sa dili mao og kaunti lang ang nagpa-practice ng truth, it will remain to be true. Ang sayop guna siya. Bisan pa unsaon nato ka-justify, sayop guna siya. Ug ang kamatuoran, bisan pa we try nga himuon siyang bakak, magpadayon siya nga truth or kamatuoran. Pope Saint John Paul II also warned about this behavior in his encyclical Veritatis Splendor, or the Splendor of Truth. He said, and I quote, "People today are often led to believe that they are free to create their own moral truths, where good and evil become subjective rather than rooted in objective moral law." He highlighted how relativism can lead to moral blindness, making it difficult for individuals to recognize sin and evil in their lives, just as those who accuse Jesus failed to see the goodness of his work. When we apply this wisdom to our lives, we must ask ourselves, are we letting our own biases blind us to the truth of Christ? Are we allowing the influence of the world to distort our view of what is truly good and holy? This jaundiced perspective, if unchecked, can lead us away from God and open the doors to greater spiritual danger. As we heard in the gospel, Jesus warns that when an evil spirit leaves a person and the house is left swept and put in order but empty, the spirit returns with 7 other more wicked than itself. This means that if we do not fill our hearts with Christ, if we do not fill our hearts with the truth of Christ, if we do not root ourselves in truth, our spiritual emptiness can be filled with far greater evils. Let us recognize the dangers of allowing our vision to become clouded by biases, sin, or the lies of the world. Instead, let us choose to fill our lives with Christ, the source of all truth and goodness. When we center our lives on Him, we are equipped to see clearly and live in the light, free from the deceit that seeks to make good look bad and bad look good. In every decision, in every action, let us put Jesus at the center so that evil has no place in our lives. Even when others misjudge us as they did to Christ, we must hold on to our faith, trusting that God sees the truth and will lead us on the path to holiness.